Now, and Mr. John Oloide is here in the studios with us as a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
Well, the way it is, political parties and the loyalists will always support themselves no matter the cost. We're seeing it again today. But about this Ondo election and what the PDP and we also saw 20 political parties asking for. And INEC says, I'm afraid, no judicial cases is not one of the reasons why they can postpone election. That's valid, isn't it?
Well, it's a valid comment. I mean, what INEC is saying is that the conditions for postponing elections as prescribed by the law, the conditions have not been met in this instance. Nobody is crying about insecurity, that you have cases in court, especially in respect of pre-election matters, are no good reasons for shifting the dates of elections. Very valid reasons. Mr. Showumi has said his own side. I am a legal practitioner. I don't belong to any party. And I believe that, like you said, members of political parties, they will always advance arguments on both sides of the divide that will sound very convincing. The important thing is the law is the law. And we say in our profession that where the equities are equal, the law will always prevail. Now, INEC is on solid ground if it says I'm not postponing. What PDP is asking for is in the realms of fair play. I mean, is it fair that you have taken us out of... Yes, both parties have agreed, Mr. Showumi and Dr. Abayomi, both of them agreed that it is the insignia of parties that appear on ballot papers. And we all know that given the pronouncements of the courts of the land, political parties promote candidates, political parties contest elections. In this particular instance, the PDP has always been there. The only area that I see where, I mean, matters should be seriously considered is in the area of, I mean, submitting names of polling agents by the candidates. I mean, the law prescribes a particular time frame within which that should be done. Definitely, that time frame cannot be met by Jegede 2 days. And knowing the caliber, the kind of people we have in politics in this country, everything is game. After the elections, if Jegede wins, somebody from somewhere will go to court. They start dumping cases on the court. That, oh no, that is, the person who lost will say, for not submitting polling agents' names on time, well, it's everything done pursuant thereto is a nullity. Now, if he loses, of course, he has a valid ground to approach the courts. Now, in this particular instance, what I can say is that the courts have done commendably well. The courts have been very expeditious. The courts have handled, both the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, they have done so well in managing a terrible crisis. And that is where this government must respect the rule of law. You know, a lot of stench has been thrown in the courts in recent times in Nigeria. Everybody saying the judiciary is corrupt. When the judiciary does good, nobody talks. I belong in that constituency, and there are so many of us out there who see the bashing of the judiciary as something that this country cannot afford. But for the intervention of the judiciary in this case, now they have started their trouble now, the politicians. No, but they are cooking it.
But before this particular one, did you, of course, you must have read the judgments, the recent judgment, yes, the 3-man panel, yes, how they were lambasting Justice Okonaba. Did they also do well?
In lambasting the judge?
No, I mean the way they looked at how, yes, he gave reliefs, yes, that they didn't seek. And, you know, lawyers always say, look, the court is on for that Christmas. You don't give what you don't ask.
Now, thank you, my brother. Well, I call you my brother. I didn't put learning. Now, the good thing, you see, the Court of Appeal, like I always say, every lawyer knows before approaching the court whether he has a good case or a bad case, if he had any good training at all. And I still believe that many of our law schools are doing well in producing many of us. They have taught us well. The law school is doing commendably well. Now, when lawyers approach the court with frivolous applications, frivolous cases, I mean, the only thing that the court in this particular instance didn't do, the court awarded punitive damages, ordered that the lawyer should pay.
From his pocket?
From his pocket, in respect of certain parts of the cost. that was good. Now, the court must begin to retain firm control of proceedings before it. The court cannot afford to be timid. Sometime this week or last week, a court in one of the federal courts, one of the judges, Justice Idris, I think I should mention his name because many of us are happy with him. Just like they did before the Court of Appeal judgment, the panel, the first panel that recused, because one party said, "Look, you people, you are compromised." The chairman of the panel, the presiding justice, has been sickly, so poor, wretched, and as such, she cannot be expected to dispense justice because she needs money and all that. Somebody writes that kind of stupid application. I'm sorry to use that expression. And they just recused. And that lawyer walked away. Nothing has happened to the lawyer. The lawyer walked away. The clients, they were allowed to walk away to file further appeals. And another lawyer came in to represent them. And you can imagine having 14 applications in respect of a judgment that has not been delivered or a ruling. Now, what I didn't like is a situation when this Justice Idris told them, somebody, look, you don't want to go on. You file a petition against me. I am not afraid of you. I will do what I have to do. I had thought that by yesterday, DSS will be in my house to remove my roof and windows to come and pick me up. But look, go to hell. And the judge did what he had to do. Many of us lawyers are happy with that because that judge knows his law. He knows his onions. He knew what he was doing. And I'm sure, he's brilliant enough to know that, no, I don't have any skeleton in my wardrobe. That is the point we are trying to make. Some of us who are in this profession, the courts must begin to take control of the situation in this country. It's obvious that the executive and the legislature in Nigeria, they are terribly compromised. And the only saving grace we can have in this country is the judiciary. But the judiciary must be sure of itself. Now, of all the judges that were arrested, of all the noise, DSS and all that, only 2 or 3 have been charged to court.
Some recommended for punishment.
Does the judiciary need any prompting for them to act? Because if you look at this matter, we were almost headed for the election before we got the speed.
Now, that's what I'm saying. The judiciary is well enabled, well empowered to free itself from the shackles of political brigandage. The politicians, they are at it. They are killing this country. They keep calling the judiciary the last hope of the common man. For some time, it has not been the last hope of the common man. And if the situation is not properly controlled, a time is coming when thugs, political thugs, will come into courtrooms